No, we're not here for that. We're here to take a deposition, and that requires you to not be on your phone.
All right, go ahead.
You said you wanted the party to die. Was that a metaphor? Or were you being serious?
I said it's a good song.
No, I understand you think it's a good song, but it's not answering my question. Were you being metaphorical, or should it be taken as a threat?
Whatever you want to take it.
The record reflects.
Yo, the rap world just got flipped upside down. If you weren't at Kendrick Lamar's GNX tour stop with CSA, you straight up missed history in the making. This wasn't just a rap show, this was a live demolition of Drake. A whole diss record acted out on stage in real time. Fans came in expecting a regular concert, but what they got was a circus, a courtroom, and a roast session all wrapped into one wild performance. Kendrick wasn't pulling soft punches either. He came for Drake's neck with skits that mocked his lawsuits like a comedy special, lyrics twisted into sharp jabs, and visuals so layered fans are still decoding them like they're ancient hieroglyphics. And the craziest part, Drake didn't even have to show up. He was the punchline all night long. While Drake's out here tied up with lawyers, canceling shows, and fighting to keep his name clean, Kendrick is clowning him in front of sold-out stadiums packed with screaming fans. This wasn't a show. This was a straight-up takeover. From the second Kendrick walked on that stage, you could feel the difference. This wasn't just music. It was a cultural reset. The energy, the attitude, the symbols. Everything was dripping with shade. The whole vibe screamed domination, like Kendrick was telling the world, I run this now, and let's talk about that stage design because it had the crowd losing their minds. Kendrick came out on a PlayStation-themed setup, complete with the triangle, circle, square, and a giant GNX logo where the X button should have been. That was more than just a cool backdrop. It tied straight into his legendary Super Bowl halftime show visuals, showing that Kendrick's creating a storyline across his performances. He's not just rapping, he's building a whole universe on stage, and fans know it. Unlike other rappers who just rap their set list and dip, Kendrick turned his show into a living movie. Every prop, every chain, every skit had meaning behind it. People walked away debating theories like they just watched a blockbuster film. Kendrick isn't just performing, he's playing chess while everyone else is stuck on checkers. But of course, no Kendrick event would be complete without controversy. And this time, the merch had people talking. Fans were hyped, but also shook when they saw the prices. T-shirts at $55 in the US had Canadian fans joking it felt like paying $8 grand in their money. The designs weren't weak, but a lot of people said the Super Bowl collection was hotter. Still, one piece had the streets buzzing, the Wild Murals tee. That shirt had fans saying it was the only one worth really dropping cash on. Kendrick knew what he was doing though. The high prices sparked just as much conversation as the performance itself. This show wasn't just a flex, it was a message, and the whole world felt it. That's just the rap hustle. Keep your name ringing, no matter if it's love or hate. Back in the day, people still remember copping tees at shows for $25, walking out feeling fly. Now, inflation hit hip-hop like a punch to the gut. Fans are dropping double the cash just to rock a shirt with their favorite artist's logo on it, and still lining up like it's sneakers dropping at midnight. But here's the kicker, even with the wild prices, the merch table stayed packed. That right there shows Kendrick's brand is untouchable. Fans don't just see a shirt, they see a piece of history, something that connects them to the moment. When the message is bigger than the money, the price tag don't matter. And trust, that merch was just the appetizer. The real meal came once the lights dimmed and the music blasted. Kendrick and SZA hit the stage like a storm. What they pulled off wasn't just a set list, it was a marathon built for legends. 51 songs between them, no exaggeration. And the wildest part, this wasn't just Kendrick doing his thing, then SZA doing hers. Nah, they twisted their performances together, sliding in and out of each other's records like it was a joint tour crafted from scratch. It felt less like two stars sharing a stage and more like a full-on movement. Kendrick opened the madness with Murals and Squabble Up, setting the crowd on fire before sliding into heavyweight classics like King Kunta and Backseat Freestyle. The arena shook, Then SZA floated in with Love Galore and Broken Clocks, giving fans pure chills before the two linked up for All the Stars and Love. The chemistry was undeniable. Anybody who thought these two had totally separate fan bases got proven dead wrong that night. Her velvet vocals softened Kendrick's sharp edges, while his raw intensity gave her songs a rugged new layer. By the time they started testing out unreleased heat, fans swore the stadium might actually cave in from the energy. It was that explosive. And let's not forget, Kendrick wasn't just giving a show, he was giving a statement. Every chance he got, he made sure to remind folks exactly who he was aiming at. Drake. Every lyric flip, every gesture, every stage move was dripping with subliminals. It was like Kendrick was serving shade on a silver platter. On Euphoria, he twisted the line saying, "It's there, I'm further," basically telling the world the war was already finished. And he's not just ahead, he's in another galaxy compared to Drake. Then on Murals, he threw a sly update to his bar about Lil Wayne, flipping it in the moment to prove his pen stays current, never dusty. Every bar felt alive, like it was written that day just to sting harder. And then came the skits. Oh man, Kendrick laced the show with skits clowning Drake's lawsuit. The boldest one, a courtroom scene. Picture this, Kendrick standing there acting like he's giving a deposition, being asked if he's threatening to let the party die. And instead of answering straight, he smirks, like the whole thing is comedy. That smirk said more than words ever could, and the crowd erupted. That courtroom skit wasn't random. It was a straight shot at Drake's lawsuit against UMG, like Kendrick was daring him to keep poking around in contracts and label drama. The whole arena caught it instantly, and they lost their minds. Kendrick didn't even need to say Drake's name. He had the entire stadium clowning him with every smirk, every gesture. That's what makes his shade hit harder. It's slick, it's layered, and it leaves no doubt who he's targeting. And the atmosphere? Unreal doesn't even cut it. That stadium felt like it was shaking off its foundation. This wasn't just a rap concert, it was hip-hop theater, a rap battle mixed with Broadway, all powered by bass so heavy you felt it in your chest. Giant LED screens blasted cryptic messages, PlayStation symbols shot into the air, and props came alive like they were part of the story. Kendrick doesn't just rap, he paints pictures. Every lyric felt like a visual grenade exploding in the crowd. When he performed Euphoria, the line lit up in massive letters. "Don't tell no lies about me. I won't tell truths about you." The crowd went crazy because it wasn't just words. It felt like the entire building was part of the beef. And then, boom, he flipped the ending line, switching it to, "It's there, I'm further." That wasn't just shade, that was a master surgeon cutting clean. He basically told Drake, "We're not even in the same race anymore," and the fans erupted like it was the knockout punch they'd been waiting for. But this wasn't a one-man show. SZA brought her own fire. While Kendrick was slicing with razor-sharp bars, she balanced the energy with raw vocals that had the whole stadium swaying. Songs like Broken Clocks and Love Galore hit different live, pulling everyone into a hypnotic wave. And what made it special was how Kendrick never stayed on the sidelines. He kept weaving himself into her sets. This wasn't two separate artists trading turns. This was a story unfolding together. When they did All the Stars, the entire crowd screamed the hook so loud it drowned out the speakers. Tens of thousands of voices turning into one massive choir. And then there were moments where SZA harmonized over Kendrick's verses, transforming his raw cuts into something soulful and haunting. It wasn't just collaboration. It was proof that hip-hop and R&B, when fused right, can elevate both sides to a whole new level. And just when fans thought they'd seen it all, Kendrick broke every expectation. He started remixing his catalog on the fly, flipping MAAD City into a mashup with Anita Baker's Sweet Love. Imagine one of the hardest street anthems softened with a soul classic, yet somehow still carrying that aggressive punch. Then he blended Count Me Out with Don't Kill My Vibe, merging two eras of his sound into a single performance that felt like time travel through his career. The crowd stood there in disbelief. This wasn't a greatest hit set. This was a reinvention in real time. And the peak of it, an unreleased joint that fans quickly nicknamed Bodies or Amisu. In it, Kendrick dropped vicious lines about sweeping the competition clean off the board and laughing at the so-called top 5 debate. One line hit like a thunderclap, making the crowd scream like they'd just witnessed a public execution. That's exactly what makes Kendrick's shows feel like puzzles. Every single move sparks wild debates. Every lyric, every visual, every smirk could be a hidden code aimed straight at Drake's darkest allegations. Fans walked out the stadium arguing like detectives. Was Kendrick just flexing with cryptic symbols, or was he sneak dissing on the deepest level? Either way, the fact that people are still dissecting it days later proves he's playing a game that's bigger than just music. By the time the concert hit its middle stretch, everybody in that arena knew. Kendrick wasn't just giving them a show, he was delivering a message. The set list kept the hype sky high, but the little details, those showed how strategic and surgical he really is. When he tore into Family Ties and then shocked the crowd by premiering a brand new verse over that first beat, the place erupted. That beat always sounded like it was built for him, and hearing him finally own it live felt like a payoff fans had been waiting years for. That new verse wasn't just flex. It was Kendrick proving he can body any track at will, while still keeping fresh ammo tucked away. The point couldn't have been louder. While Drake's recycling formulas and chasing safe hits, Kendrick's out here evolving, experimenting, and staying unpredictable. That unpredictability is his cheat code. Fans know when they pull up to a Kendrick show, they're not just hearing the album cuts they streamed in their car. They're getting remixes, unreleased joints, mashups, and once-in-a-lifetime flips you'll never hear again. That's why people drop big-ticket money. They're not just buying a seat, they're buying history. And let's give flowers to SZA because her presence was essential. She didn't just pop out for a feature, she brought balance to the whole night. Her voice softened the razor edges of Kendrick's battle-heavy energy, giving the show contrast and texture. When they ran through tracks like Gloria Luther and 30 for 30, their chemistry was so on point it felt like they already had a joint album in the vault. The visuals doubled down on that vibe too. 1 minute they're standing in front of a neon-lit gas station like they're in the middle of a late-night movie scene, and the next they're floating above the crowd while PlayStation buttons shoot up like holograms. It didn't feel like just two stars performing. It felt like a storyline being acted out live with SZA as a co-star, not just a guest. Even the die-hard Kendrick-only fans had to admit she added a magic layer that pushed the whole experience to another level. And when they performed Love together, forget about it. The stadium shook like it was an anthem for the night, tens of thousands screaming every word like their lives depended on it. That was the moment the crowd realized this wasn't a rap show, it was a full-blown experience. But we gotta circle back to the skits because those deserve their own spotlight. The most genius one came right before Not Like Us. They staged it like Kendrick was on trial for inciting violence with his lyrics. A fake lawyer grilled him on stage, reading bars like wop, 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 fit him up and asking if he was encouraging chaos. Kendrick just sat there calm, cool, smirking like the whole thing was beneath him, until the beat dropped. When he launched into Not Like Us, the stadium exploded. It wasn't just a performance, it was a direct flip on Drake's accusations that Kendrick was using bots, stirring hate, and faking hype. Kendrick turned that whole narrative into comedy, clowning Drake in front of thousands while still spitting fire. And when he ripped through every single word of Not Like Us without hesitation, no censor, no pauses, no holding back, it hit like a sledgehammer. The crowd lost their minds because it felt like the final nail in the coffin, live and uncensored. Kendrick wasn't just performing, he was doubling down on the diss, showing he wasn't scared of lawsuits, headlines, or industry politics. That moment felt legendary. It was confidence, dominance, and pure defiance all rolled into one. The kind of energy words alone can't capture. He made the stage his courtroom, his battlefield, and his victory lap all at the same time. What made this concert special wasn't only the shade, it was the layers of history Kendrick slipped into the performance. Fans with sharp eyes caught one of the slickest callbacks of the night. His courtroom skits mirrored Lil Wayne's famous deposition from 2012. Back then, Wayne mocked lawyers by answering every question with, "I don't recall." Kendrick echoed that same sarcastic, dismissive tone, clowning the lawyers without giving them anything real to hold on to. It was a clever nod that hip-hop heads immediately recognized. And here's the twist. Just days before the tour kicked off, Lil Wayne did a Rolling Stone interview where he admitted he didn't even realize Not Like Us was a Kendrick diss aimed at Drake. He literally performed it at a show without knowing what he was singing. That made Kendrick's courtroom bit even funnier, like he was poking fun at how out of touch some of the vets are. Fans caught it instantly, and social media lit up with laughter. But Kendrick's genius is that he doesn't just build hype for the night, he designs moments that live on. As clips went viral, the debates grew louder, and suddenly, his performance wasn't just a memory. It was a cultural conversation that refused to die down. That's the difference. While Drake struggles to keep control of his narrative, Kendrick creates waves that carry themselves for weeks. And let's talk about those little details because Kendrick knows exactly what he's doing with every chain, every prop, every symbol. The X chain he rocked during Peekaboo, that wasn't just jewelry. It was a coded piece of the puzzle. Fans couldn't stop linking it to the GNX branding on stage, and some even tied it back to the legacy of XXXTENTACION. Was Kendrick hinting at the dark conspiracy theories that people have long whispered about Drake and X? Or was it just another way of stamping his GNX era with layered meaning? Nobody knew for sure. And that's exactly why it worked. Kendrick understands the culture feeds on speculation. He drops breadcrumbs, symbols, visuals, cryptic flips, then sits back while fans argue, debate, and decode. It's a chess game, and every move he makes keeps him 5 steps ahead. Meanwhile, Drake, he can't even keep control of his own story. Every time he speaks, it backfires, sparking more backlash than support. That's the beauty of Kendrick's approach. He doesn't even have to spell things out or drop names. He lets the art, the props, the chains, and the stage design do the talking. And guess what? It shakes the industry harder than any interview or Instagram rant ever could. Here's the wild part. Kendrick didn't even lean heavy on his latest albums. He barely touched Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, skipping joints like N95 altogether, and instead pulled from every era of his career. He was blending Swimming Pools and Humble with GNX tracks and unreleased verses like he was weaving a timeline of his legacy right there on stage. That move sent a loud message. He's not chained to one project. He doesn't need to push a fresh album to keep people locked in. He was curating a living museum of his catalog, and that's why fans call him untouchable. While other rappers struggle to keep momentum after one project, Kendrick proved he can hold down a 3-hour set with nothing but pure artistry. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just raw music and creativity. And the way he balanced it? Genius. It wasn't just radio bangers. He mixed in deep cuts that only the diehards knew, proving he respects his core fans just as much as the casual ones. That balance is why his concerts get called experiences instead of just shows. The finale of the GNX stop, pure electricity, the kind of ending that leaves fans walking out speechless, still arguing in the parking lot about what they just witnessed. Kendrick didn't just close the night, he carved it into stone. Linking up with SCA for Luther and Gloria gave the stadium chills, and before the last note even rang out, everybody knew they had just been part of one of the most iconic tour stops in years. What made it even crazier is how Kendrick stitched his beef with Drake directly into the fabric of the night. The courtroom skits clowning Drake's lawsuits, the cryptic visuals flashing behind him, the lyric flips on joints like Euphoria. It all came together like one long stage play designed to shrink Drake's image without Kendrick ever needing to say his name. That's master-level control. The biggest takeaway wasn't just that Kendrick put on a flawless concert. It was that he reminded the world why he still wears the crown. Hip-hop fans have been debating for years who holds the throne in this era. Drake's got the numbers, but Kendrick's got the respect. And nights like this prove numbers don't matter when one man can stand on stage and move tens of thousands with nothing but art. Kendrick gave his fans everything: hits, deep cuts, remixes, unreleased fire, storytelling, and even comedy through his skits. He showed range that most rappers can't even imagine. And when you stack that against Drake canceling shows in Australia, battling lawsuits, and watching UMG dismiss his claims as weak theatrics, the difference couldn't be clearer. Kendrick looked like an artist in full control. Drake looked like a man losing his grip on the story. Fans noticed too. Clips from the tour flooded social media instantly, sparking non-stop debates. Some zoomed in on Kendrick's massive X-chain, trying to decode whether it was a nod to GNX, XXXTentacion, or just excellence itself. Others broke down his lyric flips line by line, pointing out every subtle shade aimed at Drake. And of course, the memes exploded. Fans roasting Drake for suing one week, only to have Kendrick turn the lawsuit into a comedy skit the next. The internet moved fast, and every frame had Kendrick's fingerprints on it. And here's what makes it legendary. Kendrick pulled this off without dropping a new project. He's still riding the GNX wave, but somehow it feels brand new because of the way he remixed songs live, reimagined classics, and packed fresh layers into every second. Most rappers need a new album to stay hot. Kendrick stretched one project into years of dominance by reinventing it every time he touches a stage. The details ran deep too, down to his outfits. Fans clocked that his fits throughout the show paid homage to old school DMX and the Cash Money Hot Boys. Rugged beanies, camo, and raw street vibes that tied directly into the gritty energy of the GNX era. Even the stage itself told a story. The GNX platform set in the middle of the PlayStation symbols wasn't random. It tied back to his Super Bowl stage, symbolizing Kendrick as the center of the culture. And that missing X, it was the final piece, the symbol that made the whole setup click. That's what separates Kendrick from the rest. Nothing he does is accidental. Every decision, every detail is layered. Fans left knowing they'd be replaying the footage, catching things they missed the first time. And that's exactly how Kendrick planned it. His shows aren't built for just the moment. They're built to live on through endless conversations, analysis, and debates. But here's the key. Beyond all the shots and subliminals, what stood out the most was how Kendrick continues to evolve while still honoring his roots. He didn't lean too heavy on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and he barely touched To Pimp a Butterfly. Yet fans didn't feel cheated. Why? Because he curated a set that blended old anthems with new energy, skipping songs like N95, but still giving people stadium-shaking moments with Humble, Swimming Pools, DNA, and Poetic Justice. And then he layered in surprises, like mashing Anita Baker's Sweet Love with M.A.'d City, turning a street classic into something soulful but still vicious. Between the harmonies, the skits, the unreleased cuts, and the remixes, the whole night felt like a time machine, nostalgic and futuristic at the same time. That balance is rare, but Kendrick pulled it off effortlessly. And as the lights dimmed, fans knew they had just seen the standard for what a rap concert should look like in 2025. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.